They made mistakes, and one of them was right in front of me one time, and I hit him, and he just started coming apart, and I had to maneuver drastically to avoid hitting him or pieces of the airplane.
Off the Korean coast, near the Soviet border, 18th November 1952. Returned from a strike on targets near the border, Navy pilots aboard the carrier USS Oriskany were told to grab a bite and remain suited up for a routine combat air patrol. With limited visibility, in rough seas, 4 Grumman F-9F Panthers were launched into the snow. While climbing, they received a message. Radar identified 6 inbound bogies coming from the north. Do not engage. Breaking through the clouds, the aviators spotted 7 MiG F-15 fighters, flying at 35,000 feet directly at the task force. A red star on their wings. Russians. Suddenly, the flight leader's fuel pump went down. Ordered to return to Oriskany with his wingman, he passed lead to section leader, 27-year-old Navy Lieutenant Elmer Williams, known to all as Royce. Racing skyward, Royce flipped on his sights and tested his guns. Streaking past the Americans below, the Russians banked left, as if returning to base. Then the MiGs split their formation into 2 groups of 4 and 3, diving out of sight. Do not engage, Royce was reminded. Too late. From 10 o'clock, 4 MiGs streaked at the Panthers, guns blazing orange. A dogfight, 7 on 2. Turning into the attack, Royce fired a burst from his cannon, smashing into the trailing MiG. Smoke billowed as he dropped from the formation, Royce's wingman giving pursuit. Circling back for another run at Royce, the attacking Russians were joined by the remaining 3 MiGs, 6 on 1. Royce climbed to stay in the fight, the lead MiG his target. Firing a burst, the enemy lead turned from the fight, 5 on 1. The lead's wingman stayed engaged, trading fire with Royce before sliding his damaged aircraft below, 4 on 1. Dodging and rolling and firing at anything that came into range, Royce hit another at point blank, banking sharply from the falling debris, 3 on 1. His Panther wounded but still in the fight, Royce started another MiG smoking, its pilot forced to eject, 2 on 1. It wasn't over. A shot from behind caught his wing. His rudder and flaps were gone. Only the elevator worked, and he was out of ammunition. Royce was an easy target. No second to lose, he dove his battered plane the cloud deck below, the MiG in close pursuit. "I can use some help up here," he called over the radio. At the last moment, Royce's wingman rejoined the fight, closing in on the MiG as Royce disappeared into the clouds. 95 minutes after he had launched, Royce's crippled Panther dropped its tailhook, hit the flight deck, and caught the 3-wire. 263 holes were found in the Panther. He had expended all 760 rounds of his 20mm cannons. The average dogfight lasts about 3 minutes. His lasted 35. Naval aviators are trained to fight a max of 3 enemy fighters at once. Royce Williams took on 7 superior Russian MiG-15s, shooting down 4. Following his flight, Lieutenant Royce Williams was awarded the Silver Star and ordered never to speak about it to anyone. In a growing Cold War, there was real fear that such an incident could lead to something much worse. Royce followed orders, for decades telling no one, not even his wife. Not until the fall of the Soviet Union, when the Russians opened their records, was it publicly confirmed that 4 MiGs had been downed in action off the Korean coast near the Soviet border, 18 November 1952. Weeks later, Royce Williams was ordered to Seoul, South Korea, where at a private meeting, he shared cocktails with the President-elect of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, silently toasting a mission that, officially, never happened.
So I'm alone with 6. At that time, the MiG-15 was the best fighter airplane in the world. And my airplane was very good for air-to-ground work, but it was not really in the same realm with the MiG. It had more power, it could outclimb, it could outdive, it could go faster, turn. So plane on plane, I was at a distinct disadvantage. And I fired all I had, ran out of ammunition, and I was seriously damaged with lots of holes in my airplane, but primarily a 37 millimeter right into the wing butt and took out all my hydraulics, so I basically was flying with an elevator. My next thought is, how bad off am I, and am I going to have to jump out of this airplane? And if I did, it would be all over. When zeroing in on the task force, talking to the ships, I came on in, caught in number 3 wire, and pretty much normal from that point.